Hi, this is Chase at Chase Life. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, so some long overdue updates to post-hike life. And like I've already done one video on what I expected things would be like in terms of my physical stuff, but what the reality was. But let me go into some other details. That video is about a month old now, and I can tell you that the good news is my knee is pretty healed up. I mean, it's not 100%, but I can actually walk down up and down stairs like a normal person now, which I couldn't at the beginning. I mean, that was kind of bad. It was yeah, I was kind of surprised and a little worried that, that this is like a permanent thing or something that might get worse and I'm going to need to do surgery, but it's healing up, and my feet feel great. I'm not 100% again on that, but they feel pretty good. So one thing that's come out is I definitely feel like I'm ready to go hiking again. I can tell you towards the end of that hike, of our thru hike, that, yeah, I was kind of like, I'm ready to be done, which I think is probably kind of normal, but definitely kind of itching to get back out there. And I'm finding that there's a lot of things about non-hiking life that are kind of irritating. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. It's like I just want to get back out where things were simpler, and I have to deal with a lot of stuff. But that's life. That's fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. So yeah, we've been following on all the different resources, Ramdino and what the ATC says and all that about how things are going on the trail. And at first, we were kind of struck by how bad things were, and then I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hike at all in 2025, but it really looks like that's not an issue. We'll definitely be able to hike in 2025. So that's the plan. We are going to hike next year in 2025. I have to work around my schedule. Apparently, I've blocked out some days already. We're heading over to, we've got a few different concert tickets I've already bought. I'm heading over to Red Rocks in Colorado to see one of my favorite bands, Brit Floyd, play there. So I have to work around that. That's kind of ending up in the middle of when I wanted to go. So I'll probably end up having to hike. It looks to me like right now the plan is mid-June. And so I'll be spending the second half of June and most of July and maybe a little bit of August doing the 641 miles we weren't able to do. The good news about that is it gives the everybody more time to get the trails in better shape, so I'm pretty happy about that. But it looks like we could hike it no matter what, even probably today. If it wasn't so cold, I'd probably just do it right now. But I have no interest in hiking in the cold. I'll just wait. And yeah, so that's the plan. And I've been doing, I've got a new spreadsheet. Yeah, so I did want to go over one big change. And so as for those of you who have followed along, and thank you for doing that, but for those of you who followed along, that we did a supported hike. We call it diamond blazing. That was a nickname given to us by some of the other hikers at the beginning of our trail in Georgia last year or this year. They said, hey, you guys have taken platinum blazing to a new level, and you're doing diamond blazing. And that meant, basically every night, we'd get picked up, we'd slack pack, we'd stay at a hotel, we'd eat at some nice restaurant, and that was a really awesome experience. And I can tell you that, in the many times I think about what we've done and what happened, I've become even more appreciative of that experience, and appreciative of the help that I got from Vanish, especially Vanish, but also from Buzz, to make things easier and make things more comfortable and make it more workable. So having said all that, there were some negatives about doing the supported hike, and and again, I'll just be clear, there's a lot of positives. I mean, I'm not complaining about eating at nice restaurants and staying at hotels. Obviously there's the cost issue. But beyond that, I mean, it was a pretty comfortable way to hike, and you still hike the hike, right? But the downsides were that, you lose some of the camaraderie that you would have had with other hikers. They're all doing the same thing mostly, and you're not. Right? You're like meeting them in the morning and seeing them on trail, but you're carrying a slack pack and they're carrying a full pack, and they're staying in their tent or shelter, or and all the hostels. We didn't really do many hostels. We did hotels. That was so I could work, one reason. But anyways, you don't get the full experience, even if some of that experience is kind of like not great. It was still part of the AT experience, and I didn't get that. So I kind of missed that experience, and partly I had thought, well, maybe I'll just hike the whole thing again, and do it as a non-supported. Now that having done that, I don't want to do that. I might change my mind in a couple of years, and maybe I will do it again, but I really don't want to hike the whole AT again. But I know I need to finish the 641 miles that was cut short by Hurricane Helene. So it's a good opportunity to do it as a non-supported hiker. So that's what we're doing. I'm just going to hike alone. I'm going to go up to the place that we stopped in the Shenandoahs at that campsite and start hiking south from there, and hike south all the way to Hot Springs. And so I won't have, one of the positives is that I have, I know what gear I want to take. I know my gear is dialed in. I need to do some gear videos, but I feel really comfortable with my gear. I don't feel like like what we had on the supported hike. We carried a bunch of extra things and different things that we could swap out, especially I had my rain jacket, but there was also a poncho and the Paca thing, and then other rain gear. And then I carried 6 different pillows because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use, and because we could, right? But I'm fine with carrying one, and I'm fine with carrying one rain jacket, and I'm fine with, I'm just not having to worry about all that. So that's going to be easier. And by the way, one of the things that's going to be easier too is not having to repack your pack from going from full pack to slack pack to full pack, and your stuff in a hotel and getting all your stuff out. So if your stuff is in a tent and you pack it, and then every morning you have all your stuff, you can still leave stuff. But anyways, that's going to be a little easier. But that's the goal. So one of the really more of a challenge for me would be eating and food, because obviously when we were supported, we had all the food that we needed in the van. Vanish would make us these awesome meals, or we would go out to eat, right? And so that won't be an option. But I'm pretty happy with what now, also knowing what I like to eat and what I don't want to eat on the trail, and what I need to carry with me. So, but resupply is a thing, and resupply will be just like other people have had to deal with. So I've got a spreadsheet on where I probably will be staying and how many days it's going to take me and where my resupply options are. So I've been creating resupply boxes. I'll do a video probably on that at some point. And but yeah, we've got all that stuff ready to go, and so it'll be like a normal hike. That'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the challenge of figuring out where I'm staying every night and that kind of thing, and just the freedom of that too. And one of the things is that people had told me before we hiked that you really can't pre-choose that you're going to hike with somebody else, because you probably hike at different paces. And I went, yeah, whatever. But it's the truth, it did make it more difficult. It made it more difficult for Buzz, because he's so much faster than I was, and it made it more difficult for me, always feeling like I felt bad that I was always holding him, and by him I meant also Vanish, up, because I would come in, sometimes an hour or more later than he did, and or you have just different goals on the trail, like you want to go do a blue blaze and see something, and the other person doesn't, and it's not a question of who's right or wrong. It's just everybody has got their own hike, and so it'll be kind of interesting to. And I think kind of a positive thing for me just to go out and just do what I want, right? I get up when I want, make my own breakfast, walk as far as I want to walk at my pace, and stop when I want to stop. And I'm looking forward to that. So again, not a slam on or a negative on my previous experience, because that was freaking awesome. I mean, again, I really over time have come to even more appreciate all the times that one point, for example, that in spite of the disadvantage of having Buzz walk so much faster than me, the one advantage was we would kind of we realized that this was a thing, that Buzz, take off and hike your fast hike. Don't worry about me, and get to the shelter or tent sites before I do, and then save me one. So he did, and that was a really awesome, right? It was just like we didn't have to worry about the shelter being full because Buzz was there before me. Whereas if I just waited till I got there, maybe it wouldn't have been the case. But in spite of that, that was a positive. I'm rambling. Apologies. Yeah, so that's going to be our new plan. 2025, we're going to hike starting in June, I think, subject to change. And we'll be hiking from Shenandoah down to Hot Springs, 641 miles. We're doing it non-supported, and I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of videos, I think one of the things we're going to be doing differently, I'm not 100% sure on this, but is I might not be doing daily vlogs right away. I don't know. So I can tell you that on the trail that you know, it was harder also because of the fact that I had to work, you know. So we get off trail and we go to the hotel, and I'd work for 3 or 4 hours, but then I also had to edit a video, and you know, even if you only spend an hour on a video, it's, you know, every day doing that. I think that's why I basically just didn't want to edit videos when I got home. I got off trail, and like, the freedom of not having to do that was pretty nice. So, you know, we talk about how that experience of my previous hike, being supported, having to work, doing the videos, you know, definitely had an impact on the experience. And, you know, how do I want to do this second part of my through hike different, you know, now that I have the opportunity to do a different through hike. And so we're going to do it non-supported, you know, probably not slack packing at all, not flipping around. And as a second note, by the way, on that flipping around thing, yeah, so on the flipping around, you know, I'll probably go into a full video on things I've kind of learned and realized, etc. But one of the things I was surprised to learn was how much I dislike flipping around. I don't mind the big flip flop. I think that was a really good thing to do, and I highly recommend it, and I would still do that again. But the daily flipping, where we go like, hey, let's head south, oh, let's head north, you know, let's jump up here and do this and then come back and do that, that felt weird, and emotionally it was kind of more difficult. I would have just as soon, you know, we learned that if you're slack packing and you're supported, well, why not go up? Let's take the number one example, and that is hiking Mount Washington in New Hampshire. You know, it's a big hike up, right? So if you're slack packing and you're supported, you just go to the very top and you hike all the way down the south side, and the next day you go back up to the top and you hike all the way down the north side. And you never had to hike up, you just hiked down. And you know, that really made a lot of sense. We learned that was the way to do things, and we pick and chose, you know, which way to go every day. But on the other hand, I didn't like it, right? I really didn't. And I was surprised I didn't like it. I didn't like, what difference does it make is what I would have thought. But emotionally, it just didn't seem right to be doing that. It just felt like I should just walk one direction. And so my goal, again, to do my next stage of hiking is to walk one direction. Of course, it's going to be easier because I think most of the places we're walking in the future in this second phase will be no giant. There's no more Mount Washingtons. I don't think there's even Blood Mountains or, you know, whatever. So yeah, that's going to be a change. But again, back to video. You know, what do I want to do in terms of video? Do I want to edit every night? I'm thinking I don't. You know, making it more harder on myself by doing a daily vlog in you know, semi-real time, like a 7-day delay or whatever, while I hike, is just not worth it. It may be easier just to accumulate the video footage and pictures and then vlog it afterwards, right? And that's easier to do because it's not going to be very long. It's less than a couple months, you know, and it's not like I'm out there for the full thing. So I can start releasing new videos in August of my second phase of this hike. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. I might change my mind, but that's kind of what I'm thinking now. It'd be kind of nice to be able to finish my hiking for the day and not have to do anything. That would be weird, like a normal hiker, right? Where we just hang out and just, you know, make dinner and that's it. Yeah, so looking forward to that. So that's kind of the change. That's the plan. Yeah, this is totally unscripted, by the way. I don't think I've ever scripted videos. I just ramble, and you know, sometimes I'm pretty happy when I can do a full, uncut, unedited stream of consciousness rambling that is somewhat cohesive. I don't think this is one of them. I know this is not one of them. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. We are going to hike. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll be doing a lot more videos. Some of them about having to do with hiking, like, again, gear, what we learned, that kind of stuff. Those are the ones I have planned. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please do so, only because it helps the algorithms, I guess. Not that, I guess if you don't want to, don't. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so again, thanks. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.